It was exactly midnight. Alicia sat alone in her room, brushing her hair in front of the mirror. The rain was a soft patter against the window, the wind a gentle sigh. Outside, a distant roll of thunder rumbled, a promise of a storm to come. Inside, the only sounds were the soft strokes of the brush through her hair and the rhythmic tick-tock of the old clock on her wall. Then, the electricity began to blink. The room would plunge into darkness for a moment, then flood with light again. Each time the light went out, the sudden silence was deafening, broken only by the sound of her own quiet breathing in the pitch-black room. It was on the third flicker that something strange happened. As the light returned, for just a split second, she saw it. Her reflection in the mirror smiled, a wide, knowing smile. But she hadn't moved a muscle. "What the?" Alicia whispered, her hand freezing mid-stroke. She blinked hard, and when she opened her eyes, her reflection was back to normal, mimicking her own bewildered expression. She shook her head, a nervous laugh escaping her lips. "Maybe I'm just imagining things," she murmured, trying to convince herself. She was tired, that was all. The storm, the late hour. It was playing tricks on her mind. She took a deep breath and went back to brushing her hair, her eyes cautiously fixed on the mirror. But a few seconds later, it happened again. Another flicker, another moment of darkness, and then the smile was back. Only this time, it was different. It was slower, more deliberate. And the reflection's eyes, they were no longer her own. They were a deep, horrifying red, glinting with a malice that made her blood run cold. Before she could even scream, the lights went out completely. Not a flicker this time, but a definitive, sudden cut. The clock stopped ticking. The room was plunged into an absolute, suffocating darkness and silence, save for the frantic thumping of her own heart in her ears. Yet, she wasn't entirely in the dark. A faint, ethereal glow began to emanate from the mirror. It was a cold, silver light, as if someone had lit a torch from the other side of the glass, casting long, dancing shadows across her room. The air grew heavy, thick with a strange, low hum. With a trembling hand, she lifted her phone and switched on the flashlight. The narrow beam cut through the darkness, landing on the glowing mirror. She took a hesitant step closer, then another, her heart pounding against her ribs. As she peered into the luminous surface, a voice slithered out from the glass, an echoed, chilling whisper that seemed to crawl directly into her mind. "Now, you take my place." The surface of the mirror fogged up instantly, the light swirling within it like a captive storm. Her reflection began to shimmer and distort, its edges blurring. Then, with a sound like grinding stone and crackling glass, it began to move. It was stepping asterisk out asterisk of the mirror. First a hand, then a shoulder. Then its entire form slid from the glass into her room as if stepping through a doorway. It looked just like her, same face, same hair, same pajamas. But its mouth was stretched into a twisted, permanent grin, and its eyes were dead, glowing with that same cold, silver light from within the mirror. The reflection tilted its head, the smile widening. "Ever wonder why you look in the mirror?" it asked, its voice soft and melodic, a horrifying contrast to its appearance. "It's because you need to remind yourself you're still alive." For a moment, Alicia was paralyzed. A scream caught in her throat. Then, the creature lunged. A deafening scream finally ripped through the silence, followed by the sound of shattering glass, and then nothing. The next morning, her mother gently pushed open the door to her room. "Alicia, honey, time for school." The sun was shining, birds were chirping outside, and the room was tidy. But it was empty. The bed was perfectly made, untouched from the night before. Her mother called her name again, a note of worry in her voice. As she turned to leave, a flicker of movement in the corner of her eye caught her attention. She looked at the large, ornate mirror on the wall. It was perfectly intact, and standing there, just on the other side of the glass, was Alicia. She was standing still, a faint, sad smile on her lips, and from one of her eyes, a single, silent tear rolled down her cheek.